Oh, what do? So, I'm sure you're pretty much aware of this, but a couple of weeks ago, news came out that the Scooby-Doo Krypto crossover animated direct-to-video film got canned by the WB as part of their, I guess you could say, cost-cutting measures, if you will. And unfortunately, that didn't stop it from being leaked out to the public, because somebody obviously got their hands on it and leaked it out to the public to see. Now, a lot of people are speculating after they got the chance to see it that there were a few things in it that maybe was the reason why they believe, just speculating and theorizing, maybe been the reason that the film got shelved. And that some of these moments are, basically took what was potentially a good film and bogged it down. And one of them was the Fred and Daphne moments, that relationship there. And one has to think, if that is one of the reasons, as some are speculating and theorizing, it could be, you have to ask yourself, is it time? Is it time for the WBD, the new regime at Warner Brothers Discovery, at Warner Brothers Animation, and on the Scooby-Doo team itself, the writing and animation team itself, you have to wonder if maybe it's time for them to go in a different direction. Because if the Fred-Daphne relationship is one of the reasons that the movie got shelved, because it bogged it down a little bit, and basically then you take, and then on top of that, you take the Daphne-Velma thing in the satirical parody series, as I look at it, known as Velma, and all that, and how people negatively reacted to it. You have to wonder, you have to ask yourself if maybe WB should consider going in a different direction, a direction that has not been seen or utilized in 30 to 40 years. 37 to 40 years, I should say. And that is Daphne and Shaggy. Because I can tell you honestly, I don't have to look at the scene by scene, minute by minute rating numbers, from What's New Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, especially with that one scene from that one episode. Nor do I have to look at the streaming numbers for all the direct-to-video movies of Scooby-Doo in the recent past decade and a half. But I can tell you honestly that those numbers went up just by thinking about it and theorizing. I can guarantee that those numbers probably went up significantly anytime you saw Daphne and Shaggy, on camera together, working together on camera, interacting, stuff like that. Those numbers went up. There is no doubt. And if that is the case, because again, I don't have to look at them to pretty much have an indication that that probably is what happened. But if that is the case, you have to really wonder to yourself, why doesn't the Scooby-Doo writing and animation team at Warner Brothers Animation and WBD take advantage of that and say, you know what? If Fred and Daphne is not as popular as it used to be and it's bogging things down, if people didn't like what we did with Daphne and Velma in the Velma series, then why not go and try Shaggy and Daphne? Because I guarantee you, if they were to do that, it might revitalize the series in a big way. It might revitalize it in a big way and, basically revitalize interest, not just, in the franchise itself, but in the characters known as Mystery Inc. Because, yes, you would have your romance in there that you're typically known to have, but you would have it actually between two characters that fans are actually fond of, that fans love, fans appreciate. So to me, honestly, I think they should take that opportunity. They should take that chance. Because again, if, what people are speculating could be true, and, along with other moments in the Krypto crossover, that, the Fred and Daphne romance moments or shipping moments is another reason that the movie got basically shelved, and, because those moments bogged it down, pretty much made an enjoyable story, more or less tolerable. You have to think, Could this be what, could basically WBD need to make the change? Could they be needing to make that change and say, you know what, we tested the waters with Daphne and Velma in the Velma series. We tried keeping the Fred-Daphne relationship going for quite some time. It ain't working. People are getting bored of it. Let's try something different. Could this be the moment they say, you know what, let's go with Daphne and Shaggy and see what happens? Could this be this moment? Could this be the time? Because when you think about it, it was 40 years ago this fall that we had the all-new Scooby-Doo Scrappy-Doo show with Daphne's return. 40 years, believe it or not. And 37 years this fall since the last time she was paired up with them in 13 Ghosts. So you have to really think, if maybe, again, maybe this might be the time. That if people at WBD and Warner Brothers Animation and the people that work on and the team that work on the Scooby-Doo films and shows, you have to wonder if maybe they're starting to acknowledge what a lot of us fans have been acknowledging, that it's time to basically move on from the repetitive, Fred-Daphne relationship, the repetitive attempting of Velma Shaggy and Velma being LGBTQ and stuff like that and everything. Do you think maybe, you have to wonder if maybe they're thinking now is the time? I mean, let's be honest. Going back to Velma and the LGBTQ, everybody knew that she was LGBTQ. It's just WB was so stubborn in not acknowledging it. They were. And finally, when we got to the recent, before the Krypto crossover movie, when we got to the one before it, that Scooby-Doo film, guess what? It came out in that film, and that film got people talking in a positive light about the Mystery Inc. gang, a positive light about the Scooby-Doo franchise, and mostly a positive light about Velma. When it came out that movie revealed that she was LGBTQ, people are like, finally, the change we've been waiting for, at least one of the changes we've been waiting for. So now the question is, if they're willing to do that and, kind of acknowledge that, yeah, we can't keep ignoring, this, and we can't keep trying to, push against the grain, I wouldn't say push against the grain, but basically, what's the word I'm saying? What's the saying I'm looking for? Hold up. Them realizing they can't keep, swimming upstream, swimming up a waterfall that's cascading them down or keeping them down all the time. If they're willing to realize that now, yeah, we need to acknowledge this, we need to make this canon, finally, then maybe it's time for them to do the same and say, you know what, we tried with Fred and Daphne repetitively, time after time after time. People are getting sick of it. People don't like it. People are tolerable about it. But it seems they're more accepting of Shaggy and Daphne. Let's try that. Could this be the moment? Could this be it? Could, those Fred and Daphne moments in the Krypto crossover, as some people are speculating and theorizing, along with other moments, be the reason that it got bogged down and was never given a proper release before it got leaked out? Do you think maybe that's, pretty much, the world itself and God, himself saying, guys, you tried, but let's go this direction. Let's try something different. Let's go Shaggy, Daphne, and watch what happens. And I guarantee you, I'm not saying it might make it occur or might make it happen, but I guarantee you, if they did that, people would be talking about it in the positive light just as much as they did when Velma was finally allowed to come out as LGBTQ. I guarantee it. There's no doubt in my mind people would be talking about it in a positive light, because now you're pretty much cooking in the right direction and you're pretty much saying these are the two meant to be together, not Fred and Daphne, not Shaggy and Velma, but Daphne and Shaggy, because they have that unique chemistry, they work well off each other. It just, it's the perfect opposites attract match. So you have to wonder, is this the time? Is this the time, to go and take that chance and, basically do a throwback to, I wouldn't say necessarily a throwback for the older fans, but do something new and original for the newer fans and go this route with Shaggy and Daphne. I'm just saying, you have to wonder. Because, again, based off what I've read, if one of the reasons that the Krypto crossover movie got shelved, not because of, financial reasons, no, not just because of financial reasons, we know that's probably one of them, but because of moments that bogged down an enjoyable story to the point that it got, it went from being enjoyable to tolerable, you have to wonder if one of those moments was the Fred and Daphne moments that, bogged it down. And that maybe that's a wake-up call to try and go in a different direction. I think it is, honestly. But that's up to them. I mean, it is 2023 now. It's been 40 years since the all-new Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo show where Daphne made a return as part of the team and this whole thing got started. So I think it's only, appropriate that they, go and, start to basically continue that momentum they got with that last Scooby-Doo film they did, where Velma came out as lesbian finally, and everybody was cheering and happy and all that. I think it's time for them to keep that momentum going and go and give us the one pairing romantically that we've been waiting for, the one shipping we've been waiting for, and that basically is Shaggy and Daphne. I think it's time, because if, and this is just mere speculation, if the Fred and Daphne moments in the Krypto crossover was the reason it got shelved, along with other reasons, along with, potential the other main reason being cost-cutting measures, but if those moments were the other reason, but if that moment, along with other moments, I should say, is, the reason, then I think it's time for them to, go in a different direction. Going in the direction of, let's try Daphne and Shaggy and see what happens. And I guarantee you, like I said, you think people were chanting and, not chanting, but cheering and hooping and hollering, if you will, when Velma finally got to come out as lesbian, in the last film? I guarantee you might get something similar if you decide to finally go the Daphne Shaggy route. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think it's time? Do you think the time is right now for them to go and try that? Because if we could see in the past year them finally acknowledging and saying, let's stop fighting against, fighting against a losing battle, and let's just, let Velma come out as lesbian. Do you think maybe along with it the time is right now for them to attempt doing a Shaggy-Daphne relationship for this era in time, if you will? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as on the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. You will get a audio podcast version of this at BW Rosa's Discussions Podcast at all your favorite audio podcast locations, except for Pandora. Also, guys, support me at patreon.com/BW for the $1 or $3 tiers. Also, guys, check me out at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2. Also, check me out at Cash App at BW Rosas 98. Also, check me out at DeviantArt.com. It says BVW1979. And check me out at VENMO at BW Rosas for content you can't get anywhere else except there. Also, guys, check out the Teespring store by clicking on the upper left-hand corner at the end screen here, and I guarantee you'll be finding stuff there you can't find anywhere else that you'll probably enjoy utilizing in your daily life. But guys, give me your thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think along with some various other moments, that the Fred Daphne moments in the Krypto crossover film that got shelved due to cost-cutting reasons, and of course, I think, other moments bogging an enjoyable story down, and everything along with the Fred and Daphne moments, do you think the Fred and Daphne moments were the reason and all that? And do you think that's a wake-up call to try something different? And now that we've seen them finally allow, Velma to come out as LGBTQ in the last film, do you think maybe now it's time to take that next step for them and say, let's try Shaggy and Daphne and finally make that a reality? Because, that's obviously what fans want to see. Like I said, I don't have to visually necessarily see the rating numbers or the streaming numbers, for a lot of the Scooby-Doo shows and movies, but I guarantee you, anytime Daphne and Shaggy were on there together interacting, it went up. Those ratings and streaming numbers went up. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, I'll talk to y'all later.